local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Keene, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. Here we are on December 13th, cruising down to Christmas, getting there. Today we're going to be talking about sleep coaching with Jennifer Frey. This is one of our Sojourns highlights. But first, Marty, with local events.
So first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone that volunteered and the organizers. I know it's only like 4 people and I don't want to miss anyone's name, so they know who they are, of the Parade of Lights that happened on Saturday night, because it was an amazing community event. The downtown was packed. I'm assuming the streets in town, for the whole parade route were packed.
Amazing.
We lucked out with great weather. The people that did the floats, it was be hard to choose the winner. I know they're voting right now.
Though. Check on Facebook because they're voting for the leads. Yeah, it was 65 floats. This is rivaling Alumni Parade now. And the number of people that were downtown and all the action that was happening everywhere, pretty cool.
It's a great way to kick off the holidays. Yeah. So the Opera House, we have a lot of interesting things happening at the Opera House for the next few days. This Friday, there won't be any movie, but there's a Liberty Food Fest. It's a celebration of local food, and it appears, it was a little confusing, it appears it is open and you can go to it, but you have to buy tickets through the actual presenter.
Okay.
And it says that actually on the Bellows Falls Opera House website. And then starting on Sunday, the Opera House is going to start having some holiday classics. So on Sunday at 3 p.m., they will be showing the iconic holiday classic Elf. Love that one. Then on Sunday also, but at 6 o'clock, they're going to be showing Jack Frost. On Monday at 7 p.m., it's Christmas with the Cranks. On Tuesday at 7 p.m., and this was a theme of many of at least one of the floats that came through, Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Got to see that every year. This is classic. And then the actual classic movie, the classic movie this week on Wednesday is It's a Wonderful Life, and it's sponsored by Coda and Coda. Happening on Saturday night at the Bellows Falls Opera House is a Raise the Roof Next Stage collaboration. It's Livingston Taylor and Carla Bonoff with Home for the Holidays. And tickets, they keep posting on Facebook the seating chart. Tickets are still available, but it's starting to get pretty full. I mean, I find in the Opera House that pretty much no matter where you sit, there's a good seat. But you do want to, if you have a particular seat you want to sit in, you might want to get your ticket. And then this Friday is a multitude of things happening in the square. Last Friday was Fun Friday and Ladies Night, and this Friday is Fun Friday. It's Third Friday, or 3FBF, as people like to call it, and it's Men's Night. So because it's 3FBF, there will be open studios, and so the galleries and the Canal Street Art will be open. I'm going to guess Chris Sherwin will probably have his open studio. He also usually participates in Men's Night and maybe has some libations.
Yes.
Maybe not. I'm not sure. I'm not going to confirm or deny, but there will be at least some food at a lot of the places for Men's Night this Friday night in downtown Bellows Falls.
Yeah. One other shout out, you're being modest. What about the Bellows Follies?
Oh, the Bellows Follies. Right.
She killed it as a reindeer.
Yes, we had a very successful Bellows Follies. A huge shout out to Wild Goose and everyone that performed. The songs brought me back to a lot of 80s movies, and that was very good. And yes, we as a Rotary group, and you were an elf.
I was.
You had a singing part. I just had a speaking part. We raised some money, which is nice. Hopefully everybody that came had a great time. And then the money that was raised will go back into the community.
Another good turnout. So let's move on to Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. You're coming to us from Newfane today. We're going to be talking about sleep coaching. And that's something that's really important this time of year, isn't it? With the change in our light and the length of day, doesn't sleep become an issue for a lot of people?
Yeah, it is actually a time of year when people start to sort of fall out of their usual routine. And I think sometimes what comes along with that is also the holidays are right after it. And so there's a lot of things that people are trying to get done and to organize and those kinds of things. And that can also interfere a little bit with our sleep patterns.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, and what you're working on.
Yeah, sure. So I'm actually a yoga instructor, but I'm also a mindfulness instructor. So I teach meditation as well. And I came across the sleep coaching basically out of my own need and my own struggle with chronic insomnia. For years when I was a kid, I slept fine. Even into college, I slept fine. But then when I got into my 30s, I started to find that I was awake for several nights a week, for months and then years. And sometimes it went away, but then it would also come back. And trying lots of different solutions and not really finding any, it took me a while, but I finally came to a place where I was recognizing the fact that so much of what was happening with my own insomnia had to do with what was happening in my mind. So I started to learn a little bit more about it.
And where does so can you kind of give a rundown on like what does sleep coaching mean? How does it work?
Yeah. So pretty much what it is people come to me who have issues with chronic insomnia. There's different levels of insomnia. We all have moments where we have a struggle with going to sleep, and it could just be that we have an early morning flight, or we've got a big weekend ahead of us and we're making plans. So nights here and there are okay. When it becomes an acute problem, and that's sometimes a problem that's from stress, we start to get into a kind of almost a routine or a rhythm of having a bad night's sleep. And then what happens from that point is it becomes more chronic. And so people who come to see me are generally people who have been struggling with chronic insomnia for a long time, months, years. They've tried everything and they're kind of at the end of their rope usually when they come to me. So sleep coaching is intended to really look at what the problem is that somebody might be having. I have them keep a log of what their sleep patterns are like. And then just by looking at their sleep patterns, I can generally tell what's happening with their overall difficulty with sleeping. So whether that's having trouble falling asleep or waking up in the middle of the night, I can make modifications and create a structure for them that will help them sleep a little bit more soundly.
So do you have them log what they're doing? Like, is it like a whole journal log? Like, what are they doing during the day that leads to the, or do you just look at their sleep patterns?
Well, it's a little bit of everything, actually. I mean, a lot of what's happening when people have chronic insomnia is, like I said, it's created a habit. And sometimes there are behaviors during the day that they're not actually taking advantage of that would help their sleep pattern at night. So we think about sleep as only being something that happens between the hours of maybe 9 and 5 a.m. But actually what's happening all during the day is something that adds to what's known as our sleep drive. And it's that ability to get to the point of 9 o'clock at night and feeling like, oh yeah, I'm really sleepy and I'm ready to go to bed, and for the body to surrender into that sleep. So if we're not staying active, and I don't necessarily even mean just exercising, but if you're not like, doing chores around the house or, getting yourself to go out with friends that night, even though you might not have slept well the night before, if you're not kind of creating this energy and exhausting yourself during the day, it will have an impact on how you're sleeping at night. So we do look at some of the stuff in terms of what they're doing during the day. But then I also like for them to tell me, what time did you get into bed? What time do you think you fell asleep? Did you wake up in the middle of the night? When you woke up in the middle of the night, how long do you think you were awake? And then I like to know, when did you wake up in the morning and when did you get out of bed? And one of the more important things is that I want to know what their mind is thinking when they are awake, because oftentimes we create an anxiety around the idea of having insomnia, which just makes the insomnia worse.
So it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I didn't sleep good last night. I'm really tired and I really need to get to sleep, but I didn't sleep good last night, so I'm not going to sleep good. How does screen time play into what you see for chronic insomnia?
Yeah. So I think that sometimes screen time is not necessarily it's not going to be the only issue that's happening. Some people, I think, if they're awake in the middle of the night and they're looking at their phone and there's this very close proximity to that blue light then that is something that's going to potentially create more issues as they try to go back to sleep. Blue light is the light that we generally have in the mornings. And I recommend to people that have chronic insomnia that they try to get that blue light, meaning that natural light, as early as possible, because that will start sort of the clock of their full cycle of sleep, meaning as soon as they can wake up, those photoreceptors in their eyes, the sooner their day starts. And that means that they'll potentially come to a closer end of their day at an earlier time of day. So for the screen time, I generally say that you can be on your screen. If you want to watch TV, that's okay. You just might not necessarily have it right in front of your face when you're watching it. Or you might wear like the yellow glasses. And nowadays, a lot of our phones and devices have the ability to turn down the blue light and increase more of that yellow afternoon dimming light that we look for.
So that's really interesting. You're saying that basically you're saying that if you want to get a good night's sleep, you have to get up in the morning and get going.
Yeah. It's actually true. It's really funny.
Well, no, I never heard it expressed that way. It makes so much sense. It's just,
Yeah. And what we have is this within our body, we have this natural system of needing to do or, kind of participate in a certain amount of things to get all of our energy, to get our exercise, to feed ourselves, to work, to provide for our families. All of those things are expected to happen during the course of the day. And then by the end of the day, you should logically be ready for sleep. And I think for a little while, we got caught up into a culture of thinking that sleep was like, sleeping was like a lazy thing to do, or, that you didn't need sleep and that I was just going to power through it and, make more time for my day and be and stretch it out more. But we really need sleep in order to be able to remember things, in order to be able to process things, in order for our bodies to be able to replenish and do whatever they need to do to kind of replace anything that maybe got worn out during the day. So I do think that it's important to pay attention to what we're doing during the day so that we can sleep much better at night. Another thing we don't tend to do is take time to process information. So if we think about babies or younger kids, they sleep a lot. And the reason they sleep a lot is because they have so much information coming at them. Their brains have to take the time to figure out oh, what was that? What was that? And as we get older, we don't necessarily need that much processing time. But with the introduction of technology,